The ultimate compliment is to be considered an asset by those who know you. But what exactly does that mean? And how do we get there? I believe that there is a less discussed approach to becoming a person of value, a person who is successful, respected by others, and fulfilled. It's somewhere between the hustle culture and the ease and flow of manifestation. This podcast is designed to be a resource for the ambitious, the relentless, and the rare who are breaking societal norms, going against the grain, and are open to unconventional practices as we study what it takes to be a true asset in every area of life. My hope is that you'll find this podcast unique and like it enough to share it with a friend and maybe even one day join us at one of our in-person events. Enjoy.
Have you ever found your information on the internet? When you Googled yourself, have you ever Googled yourself? Have you ever wondered how, some of your haters might find out information about you? Well, being a first responder and being somebody who's online like myself, I don't take this lightly. I have people who look for my information and they want to know everything there is to know about me. And believe it or not, you might be in that situation right now, or you could in the future. So I want to tell you about a retired Leo-owned company called Officer Privacy, who is sponsoring this podcast episode and has also sponsored my last She's an Asset retreat for female first responders. And the reason I want to tell you about this company is it's a company that I've been using for the last year. I have suggested it to many first responders as well as influencers. And if you are on the internet, you really may want to look into this company. What's great about them is they monitor 70 sites with your information on it. Okay. And I want you to think about like white pages and yellow pages and different sites that will like who's who or whatever. They go and people can Google and try to figure out who you are. Well, they take your information off of that and then they monitor that. And here's the cool thing is they have a referral program. So when you sign up, I think it's like $20 a month for them to monitor your stuff. It's a little bit more on the initial investment because they're going to go and take all of your stuff offline. If you want it that way, they have an option where you can do it yourself. But if you have them monitor all of the sites for you, which is what I do, it's like $20 a month. And then if you refer somebody and they mention your name, you yourself are going to receive 5 months of monitoring for free, which is $100 value. And then the person who mentions your name will get 2 free months of monitoring. So if you're interested, go to the show notes or just go to Officer Privacy on their Instagram. You can go to officerprivacy.com or on their Facebook. Tell them that I sent you. You're obviously going to get your first 2 months for free, but I highly suggest you do this, especially if you're a first responder or going to be one, because people want to know about you. Are you putting yourself in a box? Yes. Literally. No. Figuratively, but I want to talk about this. This is actually a topic that I have been giving trainings on across the country. And I'm actually 1 week from today, I'm speaking at a police conference. I'm speaking to over 140 women in Annapolis. And this is going to be the topic because I think that we limit ourselves as women. And I think men do too, but I'm just talking to you. I'm talking to you right now. And I think that we limit ourselves. I think we put ourselves in a box. And what I mean by that is we are trying constantly to fit in with, and I don't even know what we're trying to fit in with other than like societal norms, but the societal norms are changing constantly. And what really has brought this up for me personally, if I'm just going to level with you, it's been my journey with my body image. So I do not try to hide it. I'm very honest about it. My self-image, my body image is something that I have been working on my entire life. I talk about it in person. I talk about it at my retreats, my trainings, keynotes, workshops, on this podcast. I mean, I talk about it all the time. And it has really made me pay attention to where I'm limiting myself. I limited myself when I was on the road full time. and I would say, well, I'm just a cop. I'm sure that you do that in your life. Well, I'm just a firefighter. I'm just a cop. I mean, I could never do what Autumn does. I could never train other officers. I could never, I don't know, go federal, whatever the hell you want to do. And the thing is you're 100% wrong, but you're right, because that's what you're telling yourself. Right. So I want to tell you this story. There's this book, and it's called The Only Diet There Is by Sondra Ray. And it was written back in 1987. It is 100% unconventional. It is all about your thoughts. It has nothing to do with the food that you put in your mouth or the exercise that you do with your body. It has absolutely everything to do with how you think about yourself and what you think about as far as others and what you're holding on to. So the idea here is that what you think about, you bring about. So laws of attraction. That is honestly, that's the premise of everything that I talk about. I literally go to police departments around the country, and this is what I talk about, because if you are thinking small, you're going to act small, you're going to feel small, and that looks like insecurity. And that is what is perpetuating our law enforcement egotistic culture. That's the truth. But I want you to think big. I want you to understand that your potential is unlimited, but you are the person that is limiting yourself. You are the one that puts yourself in a box. You are the one who is telling yourself that you can't be, do, or have something. And I'm here to remind you, whoa, wait a minute. You did not come here on this earth to live, work, and then die. Like, that's not what you're here to do. You're here to be the vessel. You're here to live out your purpose. You're here to live out your heart's desires. I believe the desires of our heart were given to us by God, and I believe that we should be living them out. But the problem is that we get into our heads, or people get into our heads, or society has gotten into our heads and tells us that we cannot be who we want to be. We cannot do what we want to do. And then we believe it. Girlfriend, you have a choice. You don't need to believe it, but you do. So here, let me go back, because now I got to tell you the story. So in this book, The Only Diet There Is, Sondra Ray talks about this story, and she talks about how she talks about the female body. She talks about, like, in the 20s or 30s or whatever, women's bodies were highly sought after to be curvy, right? Marilyn Monroe style, curvy, voluptuous, boobs, butt, hips, a little belly, right? Like, that was sexy, and men loved that. But what was happening was these were the models that were wearing clothes, right? Clothing models. And these clothing companies couldn't friggin' sell clothes. And you know why? Because nobody was looking at the clothes. They were too busy looking at these beautiful models. So then the clothing companies decided, okay, we need women who are very thin, who do not have any curves, butt or boobs. And I just would like to say this. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you are, you're an athletic build, then good for you. Own that shit, right? Own that shit. I'm just explaining a situation. So the fashion companies decided, okay, we need a woman who doesn't have curves, because we don't want people to be attracted, focusing on the woman's curves. We want them more focused on the clothing. And then through propaganda, through media, that became what a woman should look like. Very, very like Kate Moss style, right? Super thin and no curves. And I think the lesson here is the woman with the curves is beautiful, and then the woman who's more of an athletic build is just as beautiful, and they're both absolutely stunning, and a woman can be whatever the fuck she wants to be. And I have been trying to put myself in the box of trying to be like the Kate Moss style, right? Like, because I grew up in the 90s where that was what was popular, very, very thin. I am not a thin person naturally. Like I'm not telling you I'm fat. I'm not fat. But I am curvy very naturally. Like that's just who I am. I am like, I don't know. I don't know how else to tell you. Like I'm 5'6". I weigh over $150 and it's just who I am. I have boobs, I have a butt, and that's just the way that it is. But I'm telling you this because I've been limiting myself. I would tell myself I'm not good enough for men. I'm not good enough in my career. It spilled over to everything. So my body image stuff has kept me in a box. It's kept me believing that I couldn't do or be or have, the things that my heart desires. And once I figured this out, I said, holy shit, I'm putting myself in a box. I'm limiting myself. Holy cow, this feels like crap. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I decided to change. I decided to get myself out of that box. And then I started coaching women from all over the world about how to get the hell out of this box, which has led me to focusing primarily on female first responders, as well as, women who follow the She's an Asset brand, how to get out of your head and get out of that box that you put yourself in. So what's important here is I want you to spend today focused on, holy cow, am I putting myself in a box or not? Like in every situation. I had a client this morning. She was voxing me and we were chatting. So voxing, I don't know if you know about the Voxer app, but it's like a walkie-talkie app, and that's how all my clients talk to me directly. And she was like, she had messaged me and she was like, I wanted to create this Zen den for me and myself. But her house, she's got 2 beautiful girls, but they're like a preteen and a teenager, and like her husband, and like, yeah, it's just a very busy house. She doesn't have a room specifically just for her because, her kids take up the whole house. And so I'm like, right. But one of my other clients who they just attended the retreat together, one of my other clients who lives by herself, well, with her dogs, but she happens to have an extra room and she made that her what we call a Zen den. A place that she can go in and meditate and be with her books and crystals and pray and do her thing. And so my client who reached out to me was like, I feel like a piece of shit because I can't do this. Like I'm frustrated. Like, why can't I have a Zen den? And I'm like, well, you're putting yourself in a box because yet again, you're thinking it has to be a certain friggin' way. And it's that simple, ladies. It's that simple. We put ourselves in a box with small things. Once she has a beautiful at-home gym. It's massive and it's beautiful. And what she doesn't even realize that she does is she snaps and posts all the time about this beautiful gym that she has. And so I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Why don't you just take like a little corner in your gym, put a yoga mat down, maybe get like a box, or you can get a small little bookshelf for your books and crystals. And there's your Zen den because you love your gym so friggin' much. And she's like, oh my gosh, I really do love my gym. I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. It looks like it could be like a regular gym people could go to. She's like, holy shit. Wow. I didn't even realize I was putting myself in a box. And that's why we have coaches. Yeah, a lot of people think you have a coach because something is wrong. No, my girls don't come to me because something is wrong. They come to me because they want to be better. They want to break through. They want to get promoted. They want to go to their next level. They want to start a business. They want to get into another career. They want whatever, right? And so we have to recognize, if we can't recognize when we're putting ourselves in a box, it's really nice to have a coach do that for us, right? But today, I am your coach, and I'm asking you to reflect throughout your day after you listen to this. Where are all the areas you are limiting yourself? Where are all the areas that you're telling yourself you're not good enough or you can't do something? Because once you identify that, you can begin to get out of your box. If you feel like this was helpful, let me know. Please share this episode out. You can rate me on iTunes. That'd be cool. You can message me. You can tag me on the socials. Let me know you're listening. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the She's an Asset podcast. If you wouldn't mind, could you please share this out? The only way we grow and I can get this out to as many people as possible is with your help. So we're kind of in this together. And the good thing is I know you have my back. So I want to say thank you and ask for you to share the show. And if we're not hanging out in the socials, I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. I'm Autumn Clifford pretty much everywhere. Thank you so much. See you next time.